All right, they're never easy, so we're glad to be 1-0. I thought we did some really good things. I thought our defense played really well, except for one play. They hit us on a run on a cover zero, and other than that, I thought we played really well on defense. Our third down defense was as good as it's been here in a long time. I thought we rushed the passer. I thought we covered well. I thought our corners played really well. It was a big play by DeMarcus in the red zone, and then Deshaun did a great job on that last pick. You know, offensively, I thought we played well in the first half. We came out the opening drive of the second half, and we just got bogged down. And we had a chance to put the game away in the third quarter, and then we had the pick six, and it left them right back in it. But then I thought we responded. It was good to see us jump in, that jumbo personnel and just run the ball and score that last touchdown and finish the game. I thought our specialists were really good tonight. Matt Dennis was perfect on field goals. Good to see Caleb Carson kick the ball in the end zone for us. The snappers were good. Ivan Moore punted the ball well. And give Elon credit. I mean, again, I think Tony's a heck of a football coach. And his teams don't quit. Last year in the Vanderbilt game, it was kind of like a very similar game. And they came back and made it a game, and they did the same against us. He's a good football coach, and his team plays hard. So I want to thank the students. We had a great student crowd there tonight, over 4,000. And it's our first win ever in a Legacy Stadium. So there's a landmark win. And again, it's like all game ones. There's a slew of mistakes. Probably the ones that stick out to me the most are the ones in the kicking game. I think we had a face mask, we had a block in the back. We almost cost ourselves a turnover by running into our punt returner. And we have a lot of guys that played for the first time tonight, so we're going to be a work in progress. Sometimes you learn more in losses than wins, but it's easier to teach things and make corrections after a win. The mood's a little better. So, given the two choices, I'll take that choice. With that, I'll open it up.
Dave, you talked a lot over the last month or month and a half about improving in the running game. How disappointed are you with the way the running game operated in the base formation?
I think we should. I thought we'd run the ball better, but my mood is a little bit better because of the way we finished the game. That when we got a body on a body, I thought Devon Claiborne made some really good cuts, and I thought the offensive line played well. And there's times it looked like we had seams, and then we just didn't bust through. There's times the ball got to the second level, and I thought the back would score it out and make a big play. And other than like maybe a 9-yard run and an 8-yard run, it just never got going. We never got in a rhythm. So, now, when you drop the free safety in the box at 3 yards every time, that's hard. It's the nature of what we do. If you're going to do that, we're going to throw it more. At times I think the receivers didn't get on those blocks the way they should have, but without being specific, I probably want to watch the film.
In the way that jumbo package, is that something we could see when it's not just a 5 or 6 minute drill at the end of the game?
Yeah, I think sometimes, right, you have packages like that ready for bad weather games, and if we just need to jump in it and get the ball handed off and create edges. Sometimes when you get no sets, they still have free hitters, but if you can make the free hitters the corners, then the back's got to make people miss. And I thought Damon did that last drive. I think at other times during the game, I don't know if we did. Maybe the space was tight. On some of those flare screens, I thought we'd get a little more in those than we did. But again, credit Elon. I thought when the ball broke out, I thought Elon did a nice job of getting it down. So again, Tony's a good coach. He's a good defensive coach. And pregame, we've played FCS games before. Pregame, I didn't like the way they looked. They were a pretty good looking team. So you like to go out those games and think, hey, your guys look better than theirs. They got some pretty stout guys in their team. So I hope I'll root for them every game now because of how much I like Tony. So when the year's over, I think they'll be a good good team. Time will tell. But again, I thought we had a chance to get that game over in the third quarter. And, the pick six and our inability to score touchdowns in the red zone, that'll cost us games later down the season.
Dave, you mentioned defense. Jacob Roberts' first start, the transfer from A&T. Talk about him and what he did.
He's a good football player. I mean, I remember when we recruited him, I talked to his head coach at North Carolina A&T, and I said, he can play in the ACC? He goes, I think he can play in the NFL. And he fits in here very well. He's a really good football player.
And
So, Chase had he got dinged up in practice a week ago and is in the protocol, and we're hoping to get him back for Vanderbilt.
Coach, again, reinforce the emphasis, on defense, the pressure the front seven was able to generate, and then of course forcing turnovers. So just speak to that.
Those are things we didn't do last year. Last year, when we played good third down defense, we won the game. When we played bad third down defense, we lost the game. I mean, you go back and you watch it, and obviously in the Clemson game, we had a 2-minute drive to win it. We could have done some things on offense, but what stuck out about that game was our inability to get off the field on third down. And I felt the same way in the North Carolina game. And so we've worked a lot of third down situations in camp. I think we are better in the secondary. Deshaun Jones is getting a lot better. DeMarcus Rankin is really going to help us. I think our safeties are covering better. I think Evan Slocum's coverage skills have gotten better. So I do think we are better in the secondary, and we cover better. And Sheen, Kendron, KP, those guys, I thought did a nice job rushing the passer tonight. Again, and I understand the competition's going to get better. So, we go from the CAA to the SEC. We're going to play a team that last year, in the last month of the year, beat Florida and Kentucky. So it was good to see us do those things, and now we're going to have to do it against teams that are against Power 5 competition.
Acknowledging you're going to need to watch the film, your initial assessment of Mitch, his second start, how he played?
I thought he did some good things, but I thought he was inconsistent, and I thought there's times that he held onto the ball too long. You're gonna, read this thing, and what is? Do they have sacks on this?
3.
Yeah.
3, and I didn't. With the exception of the last one, I thought the other 2 he just held on the ball too long. The last one, the tackle got edged, but I thought his internal clock, especially on third down. On third down, you don't want to make 3rd and 8, 3rd and 15. So, get rid of the ball, don't lose field position. And, when you don't play live football, in practice, right, people can't touch them. And when you're live, the pocket closes quicker. And when you play ACC teams and SEC teams and Sun Belt teams, it's going to close even quicker than that. So that'll be his learning lesson, because some of those sacks could easily have been strip sacks, and we can't afford to have turnovers on third down. That's how you lose football games.
Do you have any initial thoughts on the offensive line play tonight?
It's so hard, Les. Like a lot of times when I'm watching the game, I'm watching the ball. Like I know where the ball should go, so my vision kind of goes from the backfield to the perimeter, and it's hard to tell. I mean, again, I don't want to give you coach speak, but it's really hard to evaluate line play, unless it's just so obvious. Like if it just, you gave up 14 sacks and you rushed the ball for 20 yards. But, in a game like today, it's really hard to assess it until you watch the film.
Kalen Carson, I don't think he saw action in the second half.
Yeah, he got dinged up a little bit, and the doc thought it'd be wise to keep out the second half. Kalen was upset. He thought he could play. But, that's a doctor's call. And, he thought our chance of having him for next week would be better if he didn't play. So I don't know if he could have or not. When the doctor says, I don't think he should go, that's the end of the conversation.
Coach, thoughts on the wide receiver room, specifically Wesley Grimes and Jamal Banks?
Well, it was what I liked about what Mitch did is I thought he spread the ball out, right? Jamal had a touchdown, Wesley had a touchdown, Cam Height had a really nice touchdown. I thought the ball got distributed pretty well. You know, I think we missed some opportunities for big plays. We had the one bending route by Jamal that we just missed. You know, I think we're gonna go back and look at the film on offense and say, holy cow, you know, we really missed some opportunities here. That we either didn't execute the route, didn't execute the protection, or didn't execute the throw.
And early on in the game, Cam Height seemed to be a consistent target for Mitch. Is that something that's gonna, you know, remain consistent throughout the season?
Well, you know, a lot of times it's based on the coverage, right? There's very few, you know, because of where the tight end lines up, it's hard to go into a game and say, you know what, we're just gonna feed the tight end. You know, because of how tight he is, that position, it's easy to, you know, it's hard, unless you spread him out and line him up as a receiver. But a lot of times when teams are trying to double your X and get a guy, you know, whether it's cover 2 and you have a corner and a safety, or whether the corner bails and you have an outside linebacker that undercuts that route, a lot of times that creates the space internally for the tight end to get the ball. And Elon was doing some good things to take away our quick game, and they were undercutting Jamal and Wesley, and that gave Cam a matchup on a linebacker, and he did a good job. He's got good hands.
Nice one, guys.
Dave,
I'm sure Blake will text me later and be upset about it.
Dave, anything to say about 150th career win? What's your significance about
Oh,
that?
it's, you know, after my first season, I didn't even know if I'd get to 1 win. You know, first year was 0-11. I was giving Coach Higgins a hard time. You know, Kevin and I are really close, but you know, my first game as the head coach, we went against Kevin, and I thought he ran it up on me a little bit. So I told him after that, he congratulated me on 150. I said, after that first game against you, I didn't know if I'd ever get to 1. But it's a lot of players, a lot of coaches. You know, the head coach is just one of many. And you know, in this business, I've been very fortunate. I've been at good places, had good administrative support at 4 different schools. At all 4 places, we went through times that we struggled, and people believed in what we were doing, and we had a chance to turn it around. So it's the marathon. So yeah, those first few years at Fordham, I didn't think I'd get double digits, let alone triple and 150. But just grateful for every coach and player, and it's obviously all this stuff is a collective effort.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you all.